Okay, guys, back again for another Coach Nate Foods for Health live stream. Thank you so much. If you can join me here live, always greatly appreciated. Like always, if you can type in chat where you're listening from, always appreciated. Ask any of your questions. Today we're getting right into it, into an important topic. One vitamin that I think everyone should be focusing on having in your diet, but maybe even increasing in your diet, depending on your, vitamin needs and nutrition needs and everything like that. So I thought I'd get on here just with some interesting stuff that I read this morning and some interesting things that I read last night, some conversations I've had with clients. So I thought I'd get on here and just really highlight the importance of this one vitamin, especially as we start to get into the fall, winter months here in a lot of places. Even if you are, in a area where you're getting a lot of sunlight, I think you guys might be able to guess what that vitamin is now that I'm talking about sunlight. That one vitamin, probably one of the most important that I'm going to point out to you guys. And thank you, Justice NYC. Great to have you in here. Thank you so much for the likes. Again, I apologize for the short notice of the stream, but I'm going to get on here as often as I can. And when the opportunity arises, then I will go live. But thanks so much. I'm glad you guys are coming in here. So what is this one vitamin? The reason why I want to point this out is I was looking at the most common vitamin deficiencies. Maybe you guys might have some in mind. A lot of people will think, iron, vitamin B12, folic acid, even vitamin C. That's always on the mind of a lot of clients, a lot of people. But the one that stands out and the one that's actually the most common, and we see this through numerous studies, looking at even at Harvard Health studies, the one vitamin that we need to make sure that we have in our diet and the one that's the most common that's deficient in our diet is vitamin D. And there's a lot of important reasons why we need to make sure this vitamin is in our diet. And, thinking, it is the one that's the most common where there is a deficiency, we really need to make sure that we're getting enough vitamin D in our diets. And again, there's a lot of reasons for that we're going to go over. What are some signs and symptoms that you may be deficient? You might want to speak with your doctor or medical practitioner about it. And what are some foods that you can add into your diet so that you're making sure that you're not deficient in this? Of course, if you live in somewhere that's sunny all year round, might not be the case for you, but unfortunately where I am, and unfortunately where a lot of my listeners are from, it does start to get a little bit cooler. We do start to see more clouds, more less sunlight, colder weather, things like that. When that happens, it only gets worse. Justice, thank you so much. Watching in NYC, the city that never sleeps. There you go. And I've been to NYC many times. I can certainly agree with that. NYC is actually one of my favorite cities and destinations to go to. I've been there many, many times. Justice, low on B12 now. Zinc. Great, great answers. And that's what I kind of wanted to point out here just at the beginning of the stream. A lot of the times it might be vitamin B12 that we're low on, depending on your diet. A lot. Happy and simple living. Thank you for coming in and joining us, and thank you for the comments. It's great to see some comments in stream. Zinc is another one that a lot of people might be low in, and it's one of the more common ones. But again, with our studies that are coming out, a new Harvard Health study that just came out, vitamin D is the one that is the most common, which is very unfortunate, especially with all of the information that's coming out on the benefits of vitamin D in our diet. Just making sure I don't miss any of the comments. And thank you guys again for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned in the last stream, as I mentioned again, you guys are the algorithm of this channel. So when you like the video, again, it helps with that algorithm, puts more of this information out there. So if you can like the video, like the stream, I really, really do appreciate that. Mushrooms that are sun-dried are rich in vitamin D. It's excellent that you say that, Happy and Simple Living, because I was at a health food store yesterday and just seeing all of the different options now with foods that are fortified in vitamin D, all of the vitamin D supplements that are out there. There's really a lot of things that we can do to make sure that we aren't deficient in this vitamin, even if you aren't getting sunlight. And here, especially where I am, Just looking outside right now, we got some clouds, we got some rain. People are not going to be getting that natural sunlight as often as we would like to. I take flaxseed oil for my high blood pressure. Just as good for you. I take 20,000 IUs a day. Alvin, vitamin D3. Very good. It's interesting, Alvin. And then we're going to get into the discussion here. But again, I just want to make sure this is the first time in a few months where we're getting comments and chat. It's my second live stream back. We're getting into the live streams more and more. You guys saw the video that came out the other day. Again, more content going on this channel. So I want to make sure that I'm addressing these comments. Again, we're talking about vitamin D right now, but we want to make sure that we're answering your guys' questions as well, because this is the time to do it. I see this little heart icon. If you like the discussion, again, you can put that emoji up there. Thank you so much. Vitamin D3. Alvin, excellent comment. Yesterday I just bought a vitamin D3 and K2 supplement. You guys know that that is one of my favorite supplements out there right now, with the synergistic effects of vitamin D3 and K2. I did a whole live stream just on that topic, talking over an hour about why that is so important. So let's get right into the discussion here, guys. All right, we see, all right, ones that we need to watch out for. What am I speaking about? Again, vitamin deficiency. Ones that we need to watch out for, especially right now, is vitamin D. And the thing with vitamin D is it's especially common as we get older. All right, again, and probably as we get older, we need that vitamin D, D3, in our diets even more. All right, but there's a lot of things and a lot of symptoms, signs and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. So if you are low, you know, what are some signs and symptoms? And I think the signs and symptoms are one of the main things that you want to look out for. Now, do these signs and symptoms mean that you have a vitamin D deficiency? Well, it could mean that. You're going to want to speak with your medical practitioner again, but again, it's something to think about. We see more and more people with these vitamin D deficiencies having these signs and symptoms, thinking that it's totally something else, where it's just low vitamin D levels in our diet. Again, not a lot of foods that you can have that are going to give us vitamin D. So again, I'm going to give those foods. I want to talk a little bit about the signs and symptoms, and then the benefits of vitamin D, why I'm talking about it, and why I think we need this vitamin in our diet. I eat fermented soybeans for K2 as well. Fermented foods, Alvin, very excellent. Fermented foods are going to be one of your best options for vitamin K2. For vitamin K, you know, you see a lot of people getting vitamin K, but not that K2, and there is a difference. Vitamin K will be found in your spinach, your leafy green vegetables, and you know, it's very easy to get that vitamin K. But vitamin K2, much different. You have to be eating fermented foods like those soybeans. Sauerkraut is a great one. Things that are fermented. I was doing sauerkraut for a very, very long time before I started supplementing a little bit. I still do it just every now and then just to make sure that I'm getting it. The other thing is, and this is why I always preach fermented foods, because it's a lot easier for my listeners, for my clients, for myself. You'd have to be eating organ meats. And a lot of people are not big fans of liver and things of that nature. So fermented foods for that K2, absolutely. I hope you can teach us the optimal dosage. Well, here's the thing, guys. When it comes to optimal dosage, always speak with your medical practitioner. It's hard for me coming on here and then just without knowing your history, without knowing what foods you're eating, if you are low, what the optimal dosage is. But here's what I've seen in the studies. What do the studies say? You know, you'll see things where I think it's quite low. I mean, you'll see 600 IUs, 800 IUs, especially for individuals that are older, in their 70s, 80s. There's a lot of studies out there that are showing that we actually need quite a bit more than that. There's a lot of studies that are now showing, and we see, and I know a lot of people that are taking that 20,000 IUs a day. I think for most people, the optimum dosage is somewhere between 1,000 to 5,000 IUs. And again, this is just looking at the studies. Again, you're going to want to speak with your medical practitioner. I am not a doctor. I'm a nutritionist, and I'm someone who makes videos on nutrition and relays the information to you from what I see. But again, speak with your medical practitioner. But somewhere in between 1,000 to 5,000, I think, is optimal for most people, but even up to 10,000 IUs a day. Now, again, that's where you want to speak with your medical practitioner. But from those studies, 1,000 to about 5,000 and even up to about 10,000 IUs a day. Now, if you're getting a lot of sunlight, do I think you need 10,000 IUs a day? Definitely not. I think that would be a little bit high because you are getting a lot of vitamin D from that natural sunlight. But again, for most people, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting at least 1,000, 2,000 IUs a day. I think that's a safe dosage just from what I've been seeing in the studies and everything that I've read. But you see, like the 600, 800, most supplements start at 1,000. So you're going to get well over that 600 IUs a day. Even the vitamin D3 and K2 vitamins, which again I love, probably one of the most synergistic and one of the most beneficial supplements out there, they're going to start at 1,000 IUs. So, that 600 we see just being a little bit low according to the studies that are out there. I need to stick to a vitamin. I have awful neighbors for 8 years. I stay indoors a lot. Justice, a lot of people stay indoors. I mean, that's why I'm doing this live stream right now. We're getting into cooler weather. A lot of people are not going to be outside. It's pretty easy when it's, spring, summer, early fall. But once you get into that winter, we have less sun. Our days are shorter, so there's less sun. And it's just cold, and people are not getting out there. Thank you so much for the comments, guys. I really do appreciate that. These live streams, again, we're talking about vitamin D right now, but I always enjoy answering your questions. And again, this is the time to do it when we're talking live. So, vitamin D, we see more and more common. Again, studies that are coming out is the most common vitamin deficiency, vitamin D right now, which is quite unfortunate because there's so many great benefits to vitamin D, especially now. Coming out of post-COVID and everything like that, more and more studies were done on vitamin D, and it just shows the amazing benefits of vitamin D in our diet. And we're going to go over those right now. Well, let's talk about some of the signs and symptoms. Again, just because you have some of these signs and symptoms does not mean that you are low in vitamin D, but it's something to look out for. Especially if you're not getting a lot of sunlight, if you're not eating a lot of these foods that we're going to mention, maybe that's something you're going to want to speak with your doctor about. There are so many brands you can recommend. One I use is Nature's Bounty. There's so many good vitamin D supplements out there. There's the Now brand. There's tons of brands. I mean, I can't even remember the one that I take. Naturals, I believe it's called. Natural Health. And the great thing about vitamin D supplementation is that vitamin D is one of the cheapest supplements out there. Now, if you get the vitamin D3 and K2 supplement, a little bit more expensive, but amazing health benefits. But yeah, Nature's Bounty. I mean, you can't go wrong. Let me know again in chat where you're listening from. If you are taking a vitamin D supplement, that's usually one of the easiest ways to get it. But let's go over some of the signs and symptoms. All right, symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. And a lot of the times it may be asymptomatic. You might not have any signs and symptoms at all, but you're going to want to go over your diet and you're going to want to see, are you supplementing with it? Now let's talk about the most common symptoms here, guys. The most common symptoms of low vitamin D deficiency. So, and it's not going to be if you're low in vitamin D for, let's say, a day or a week, maybe even a month. But if it's long term, so it's not acute, but maybe chronic or long-term vitamin D deficiency, you have more chance of symptoms that include fatigue if you're feeling tired a lot of the times. All right, low vitamin D can be a symptom of that. Another one is low mood. And again, that's why, There's seasonal depression out there. Very, very common these days. Speaking with clients, speaking with individuals on this channel, seasonal depression is one of those things that is going up and up and up. So mental health, the mental health benefits. So physical, you're going to have fatigue, maybe, and one big thing relating to fatigue is it can affect your sleep. Right? If you're not sleeping well, if you're having disturbed sleep, if you're having trouble falling asleep, that can be one of the more common symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. And this is why we need it in our diet. Because, if we're having those types of signs and symptoms, it's all quality of life. All right. Quality of life. If you're not at your best, if you're feeling tired, again, that's going to affect your activity levels, but it's also going to affect your diet. If you're not feeling well, you're feeling fatigued, you're feeling low energy, that's going to give you more of a reason, or probably more chance of reaching for those high energy foods, those foods that are full of sugar, packed with sugar, to give you that energy boost. Maybe going for an extra cup of coffee, maybe putting some sugar in that. A lot of people will kind of start their day, maybe even halfway through the day, going for that extra cup of coffee and throwing sugar in there just to give them that energy spike. Here in the Philippines, I always get sunshine every morning. Beautiful. That's a great way to start your day. One of the things that I read and have been reading is before a cup of coffee, a lot of people now are actually going out and sitting in the sun for about 20 minutes. They're starting their day not with coffee, but with getting natural sunlight. And I think that's a great thing. I think if we get more people doing that, we are decreasing the risk and decreasing the chances of vitamin D deficiency, which is great. And that's what we want. So more signs and symptoms, guys. All right. Fatigue, troubles with your sleep. Again, mood, depression. Again, that's why you're going to be getting that seasonal depression a lot of the times. Other ones, and this is a big one too, and it's not always related. And again, this is why it's important to speak with your medical practitioner. If you're having bone pain, all right, your joints, muscle weakness, things of that nature. A lot of people would not assume that vitamin D deficiency can lead to symptoms like that, and they're going to be turning to other things and not looking at vitamin D to help kind of relieve some of those symptoms. But we see some of the more common signs and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency, including muscle weakness, including bone aches. It's not great. Let's be honest. It's not great for our overall health if we're feeling exhausted over time, if we're feeling muscle weakness, if we're low mood, if our bones hurt, our joints. That's not going to give us optimal health, guys. And one thing on this channel is I always preach optimal health, one step at a time. But that's great. If you're in Philippines, get that natural sunlight. And if you're in other areas of the world where you can get that natural sunlight, try to do your best to get it, because that's one of the easiest ways. All right, one of the easiest ways to get vitamin D. Now, other ones, and we see this in the studies as well, and more and more things related to vitamin D deficiency is one that it can lead to more autoimmune diseases. Why? Because vitamin D can actually increase and strengthen your immune system, and that's really become very, very popular post-COVID and during COVID. Sorry, a lot of studies coming out, and a lot of information coming out on how vitamin D can improve immune system. And how does it do that? Well, all right, vitamin D can help stimulate T cells, all right, the production of T cells, which can, decrease the risk of infections, all right, of viruses, of bacteria, funguses, various types of illnesses. I know vitamin D was huge when it came to respiratory infections and trying to decrease that, and that really came out during COVID. So increase and strengthen our immune system. Amazing. It's exactly what we want. That production of those powerful T cells and T cells are important, guys, because that's going to respond to those infectious pathogens. That's going to respond to bacteria, respond to certain viruses, whether that's respiratory or anything else. All right? colds, influenza, things of that nature. So it doesn't need to be, respiratory illnesses. It can help decrease the risk of the common cold and flu, which is amazing because we're coming into cold and flu season, guys. So you really want to make sure you're getting enough vitamin D in your diets. And I've heard a lot about that. More people susceptible, obviously, to cold and flu. Um, and we see studies, and there's a lot of information. There's some other great channels out there as well, showing the importance of vitamin D and K2, vitamin D and K2, D3, helping to strengthen the immune system and maintaining the immune system. A strong, healthy, robust immune system, guys. That's exactly what we want, especially now as we start to go into the fall and winter months, as we start to get into cold and flu season. Make sure your vitamin D levels are sufficient. Again, I'm going to go to chat here, guys. And again, thank you so much for the thumbs up. I see we're at 12. I know I was a little bit short on getting this stream live, but again, when my time, if I have time to get on here, that's exactly when I'm going to get on. This is unrelated, but I recently discovered I had rice sensitivity and gluten intolerance. Not eating these foods abolished my fatigue, absolutely. If you have gluten intolerance, sensitivity to foods, 100%, you're going to see an increase in inflammation, guys. An increase in inflammation, which again can put you more at risk for any of those viruses that I was just talking about. Weakness, fatigue, inflammation is one of those silent, well, let's be honest, it's one of those silent killers. That's why heart disease is up so much. But inflammation in the body, you're going to want to make sure that you're taking care of that, eating a healthy diet, and getting that vitamin D into your diets as well. Again, don't have to apologize for that. I think that's a great point, Alvin. Thank you for posting that. If anyone else has any comments about, anything related to health and wellness, go ahead and make that comment, guys. So, vitamin D signs and symptoms. All right, we know fatigue. We know, sleep disorders, disturbed sleep. We know bone pain, mood, right? Muscle weakness, sometimes lack of appetite. And again, you're always going to want to speak with your medical practitioner if you are feeling any of these signs or symptoms. Again, thank you so much for joining me, guys. I know you guys are funneling in here. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it on such short notice. But again, what are some other benefits? All right. What are some other benefits? Again, brain function is a huge one. All right. When it comes to vitamin D, not only is it going to help strengthen and boost the immune system, all right. Again, we see in numerous studies, all right, when it comes to COVID, that it can help to reduce severity and duration of COVID symptoms. Now, is vitamin D the be-all and end-all when it comes to COVID? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying if you start supplementing with vitamin D, you're not going to get COVID, you're immune to COVID, you're not going to get any symptoms if you do end up getting COVID. But there are studies out there that show that vitamin D can help reduce severity and duration of COVID. That's just information that is out there and very well studied. And again, strengthening the immune system. We want to prevent the development of those autoimmune diseases. Especially with everything that's going out there, guys. We see RSV going up. We see, respiratory illness going up. And, we want to stay away from that. Even common cold and flu. Flu season is upon us, guys. I see it with my clients, and I see it in the messages that you guys are sending, even in the comments on other videos. So that's why this live stream is very, very important. On videos like cayenne pepper and black pepper tea, the one that I just made, again, that's going to help increase. But are you getting the vitamin D from any of that? No. We're still going to be low in vitamin D, even if you are having those healthy, teas and things like that. Those foods, unfortunately, do not provide vitamin D for us. Thank you. I just wanted to help those who can. Yes, exactly, Alvin. That's why I like the comments, and that's why I like the information being shared. Elderberry chewables daily. Very nice, Justice. Elderberry, very nice. Berries, one of the best antioxidants out there. You know, if you've listened to the live streams, if you listen to me talk, some of my favorite fruits out there are going to be blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, elderberries, strawberries, just because of their high antioxidants. All right, and why are antioxidants so great? I was just about to say you get anthocyanins from a lot of those. All right, powerful antioxidants that are going to boost your immune system and, maybe more importantly, decrease inflammation. And that's huge for us. We want to make sure that we're decreasing inflammation in the body. But I thought it was very, very interesting that, when it comes to common vitamin D deficiencies, we see them most common right at the very top, vitamin D these days, vitamin D deficiency. Again, with your B12, again with iron, B6. B vitamins tend to be up there as well. But again, that's a whole other stream. Newly born babies are often brought out in the morning to get that morning sunshine. But it doesn't surprise me, happy and simple living. I think that's a great thing. Get that natural vitamin D. Again, you want to make sure they're not out there. Those babies do have sensitive skin, so just make sure there's no skin damage or burns or anything like that, but I'm sure that they're paying attention to it. And again, you just got to be careful. If you are wearing like an SPF suntan lotion, I was out a lot during the summer. If you are wearing that SPF, like I was wearing 30, 45, sometimes 60, depending how long I was out there, that will affect how much vitamin D you are getting because it will block that natural sunlight. Okay, so we see benefits: strengthening the immune system, strengthening and improving brain function. All right, we see again numerous studies where vitamin D, super important with many functions in the body, which includes how the brain functions. All right, not only how our immune system functions, but how the brain functions as well. All right, so brain function, super important. Again, according to studies, so all of these studies coming out, vitamin D helps protect, all right, certain neurons in the brain, but also reduce inflammation within the brain. And that is super important too. All right, vitamin D, all right, decreasing inflammation in the brain, in the body. Why? Because you're preventing chronic diseases, heart disease. And I think that's a good thing to point out here when we're talking about the importance and why we want vitamin D in our diets. All right, preventing not only acute, like muscle soreness, fatigue, but also chronic diseases, heart disease. Again, if you listen to any of these discussions, on the rise. I think about 33% of the world's population now, some sort of heart disease related thing that they're going on with. It could be high cholesterol, high blood pressure. The list goes on and on. Atherosclerosis, inflammation is going to do a number on the heart. I had COVID twice and chickenpox, an adult in my 30s. Yeah, very common, Justice. I mean, I think most people these days have had or have had to deal with COVID. So getting that vitamin D especially important, as we see in studies. I make fresh aloe vera ice cubes for sunburn. Absolutely, aloe vera, very nice for sunburn. I heard raw natural honey, manuka honey can be good for sunburns as well. Again, you just don't need a lot on there, but honey actually very, very good for treating not only wounds but also sunburns. And thank you again for so much for the thumbs up, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the discussion. I hope you're getting something out of the discussion of the importance of vitamin D in our diet. So we know the signs and symptoms. We know that vitamin D is the most common vitamin deficiency out there, along with vitamin B12, iron. Yes, all of those are very, very common, but the one that's probably most often forgotten is vitamin D. So we see strengthen the immune system. We see improved brain function. Another one, boost mood. Just like I said in our symptoms, all right, can lead to depression symptoms, seasonal depression. It's on the rise. Again, that can be related, all right, it's not always related, but it can be, all right, to low vitamin D levels. And again, seasonal affective disorder. Several studies show, all right, it can be linked with low levels of vitamin D, especially low levels of vitamin D3. All right. And again, it just has to do in the seasonal affective disorder, you're getting a lack of sunlight exposure. So it only makes sense that that is happening, guys. Now, other benefits, all right? We know our mood, right? We see, all right, in studies that those who are dealing with, SAD, that's so seasonal affective disorder, all right? A lot of times you'll hear me say SAD uh, as a short form for it. But, you know, those mood disorders, depression type symptoms, studies are suggesting that decreased levels of vitamin D3 are impacting serotonin levels in the brain, which regulates mood. All right, so being, cognizant of that and maybe taking a vitamin D3 supplement or exposing ourselves to more sunlight if you are able to. If you live in an area that's nice and sunny, unfortunately, I do not during the winter months. No, next to no sunlight exposure up here. I'm in Canada, so if you can relate to that, leave a comment in chat or leave a comment down below. So we see boosting of our mood. The other one, all right, joint, a lot of joint issues, all right, like inflammatory issues. Again, rheumatoid arthritis. If you're dealing with arthritis or joint pain or rheumatoid arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis is one that stands kind of alone because that's a chronic inflammatory disease. That's the body attacking your joints. So we really want to be careful with that. And of course, speak with your medical practitioner. All right. But studies have found that those individuals who are dealing with things like, rheumatoid arthritis, joint issues, stiffness, pain, a reduction of mobility even, studies have shown that those individuals are lower and can have low levels of vitamin D. So be cognizant of that as well, guys. Want to make sure that immune system is strong so that we make sure, if you're dealing with that, rheumatoid arthritis, it's an autoimmune disease. We want to make sure that our immune system is strong, robust. It can help deal with those signs and symptoms. But again, that's a standalone. It's inflammatory disease. Again, vitamin D can decrease inflammation. So very, very important. Very, very important to have in our diet, of course. Now, another one, I'll just, as a quick aside here, we already talked about heart health. All right, we already talked about heart health. There are some studies that are showing that it can, there is a little bit of an association with low levels of vitamin D and high blood pressure. And, that's something that's coming out new in studies, which is quite interesting. Again, it's not, if you have high blood pressure, it doesn't mean jump into the vitamin D and then you're going to be, cured, or your blood pressure is going to go down to perfect. All right, you're going to get perfect levels of blood pressure. But again, about 10% of individuals with low blood or high blood pressure are low in vitamin D levels. So we can see heart health benefits as well. Heart health, which is amazing, and that's one of the big things on this channel. I talk about heart disease, heart health all the time. So a reduction in heart disease. And again, that has to do with, the benefits of vitamin D with blood pressure, the benefits of congestive heart failure, atherosclerosis, a decrease in the risk of stroke and heart attack. So it all comes hand to hand, guys. It all comes back. Decrease in inflammation, of course. All right, if you have chronic levels of inflammation in the body, that puts you at a higher risk of heart disease. After having, sorry, I'm trying to catch up on some of the chat. And again, thank you for the thumbs up. You guys are amazing. And if you want to see more streams, leave a comment down below. My plan is to get on here as often as possible. It's a Monday. I was thinking Wednesdays and Saturdays, but as many live streams as I can, that's probably what I'm going to aim for. And again, we've been going for 34 minutes, so these discussions, I love getting on here live because we can discuss a number of different topics, including vitamin D. I need to stock up on vitamin D. I have Sorgen symptom. Okay, ruins the teeth. Absolutely. That's the other thing. Bones and teeth and things like that, all hand in hand. But having eczema since birth and finding out it was a gluten intolerance, I think the diseases are caused by gluten intolerance. You know, gluten intolerance and eczema, when you have those inflammatory foods, a lot of times you can deal with skin issues. Um, even like hair loss. It's all, again, like when it comes to like bones, teeth, hair, our skin, like pale skin is another sign symptom. Very, very less common than your fatigue and things like that. Uh, Again, you might want to be cognizant of increasing vitamin D in your diet. But yeah, when you're having if you have gluten intolerance, if you're one of those individuals, and again, it's fewer and fewer individuals that are actually dealing with gluten intolerance or have a gluten sensitivity. I think like 2, 3, 4 years ago, a lot of people were thinking that they were having gluten intolerance or gluten sensitivity. It was really, really popular. It was kind of like the thing where it was low gluten, stay away from gluten foods, and they were thinking that they have an intolerance where most individuals don't. But Alvin, if you have gluten intolerance, then eczema can certainly be one of those things, a symptom from that gluten intolerance. Just because you're going to have so much inflammation, a lot of inflammation in the digestive system, which is connected to our skin. The digestive system, it's amazing, there's so many things connected to the digestive system, our immune system, which correlates into skin health. So again, vitamin D, that gluten intolerance for sure, but vitamin D can actually help improve our skin as well. So I think the big ones, all right, vitamin D, we already know, can promote dental health. All right, so keep that in mind as well, Alvin. Or sorry, Justice. If you're dealing with teeth issues, or if anyone else is dealing with teeth issues, we know that vitamin D benefits. All right, let's sum it up. 1, promote immune health. 1, promote brain function and brain health. It can reduce inflammation. It can promote bone health. It can promote dental health, tissue health, all right? So skin health, all right? When we're talking about tissues and things like that, all right? Skin health as well. So if you're dealing with any of those, all right, make sure that you're getting optimal levels of vitamin D, and make sure you speak with your medical practitioner about it. all good, Alvin, all good. No worries, my friend. So those signs and symptoms, they can really affect our day-to-day living. All right, like I said, vitamin D3 helps regulate the absorption of calcium, all right, which plays an important role, super important role, of course, in teeth and bone health. All right, so that's another great thing about vitamin D3 in particular. All right, if we want to increase calcium, all right, absorption, because calcium can be a little bit tough to absorb. Vitamin D3 can help with that absorption. So another great thing. And a lot of things can actually prevent calcium absorption. So you want to be cognizant of that as well. But vitamin D3 is one of the ones that can help with the absorption of calcium. Just make sure you're not overdoing it on calcium, guys. Read a lot of studies, and they're coming out more and more pronounced where high levels of calcium can actually negatively affect heart health. Now, again, it's not a day of high calcium or a week or a month, but long-term high calcium levels can affect our overall heart health. So I would go more so with just increasing overall vitamin D3. I think that's really, really a great one. Just making sure I'm not missing any of your comments, guys. Like I said, this is my first live stream back. Sorry if I'm a little bit slower in answering questions or a little bit slower in providing the information. Like I said, it's my first one back in 4 months after being off for a little bit over the summer, and then seeing your great comments here. So I want to make sure I don't miss any of them. And thank you so much. Thank you so much to those individuals who are providing super chats and joining as members of the channel as well. If you do find the live stream beneficial. If you want more live streams, that's a great way to support the channel as well. So I really do appreciate that. You guys know who you are. All right, so we know the deficiency symptoms. We know that vitamin D is one of the most common deficiencies, is actually the most common deficiency of vitamins. All right, we know the benefits of increasing vitamin D. So what are some foods that are actually high, all right, in vitamin D? Because we know sunlight, all right, is one of the easiest ways to get it. But of course, like I said, and like I've mentioned before, as we get into the cooler months, as we start to get into winter, getting that sunlight is very, very tough. One of the easiest ways is vitamin D supplementation. Again, the optimal levels for you, how much do you need to take? That's going to be a discussion between you and your doctor. But through those studies, again, a lot of the supplements start at 1,000 IUs a day. And there's people who take up to 10,000. And again, I would do that with your doctor. That's a discussion with your doctor, of course, but you do see in studies where people are taking 10,000 IUs a day. And again, mostly those studies have to do with the immune system. All right. So again, we already know that it strengthens the immune system, as I've gone over here. Now, what are the foods? What can we eat? All right. We already know symptoms. All right. And we already know sunlight is one of the best. So what are some foods that we can eat? Well, foods that are naturally high in vitamin D. Again, fatty fish. And again, you can get a fish oil supplement that's high in vitamin D. A little bit more expensive, but I do like getting those omega-3s. If you listen to this channel, you know how much of a fan I am of omega-3 fatty acids. Those omega-6s are very easy to come by, but it's those omega-3 fatty acids that are much, much tougher. And again, we want that proper ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s, because a lot of the times those omega-6s are just outweighing the omega-3s, where it's actually going to increase inflammation in the body, believe it or not. Again, we just had a whole discussion on decreasing inflammation. But if we have, a lot more omega-6s, a lot more omega-9s, those fatty acids, related to omega-3s, you are going to see more inflammation in the body, and we want to decrease inflammation as much as possible. So let's go over the foods. All right, so what are some foods? Like I said, fatty fish. You have salmon, trout, decent one. You'll see it on lists sometimes, right, but not quite as high in vitamin D. I would go salmon, sardines, or mackerel. Those are always the three that I like to kind of give when it comes to vitamin D or even omega-3 fatty acids. Tuna will be on a lot of lists. You're not going to get a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, and it only makes sense. Look at a can of tuna. Look at how much fat is in a can of tuna. You're not going to see a lot of fat in there. All right, it's probably like 1 gram to 30 grams of protein of fat, if that. Maybe 0, maybe 2, but it's very, very low. So foods that you're going to want to stick to, all right, naturally high in vitamin D, all right, salmon, mackerel, sardines, fatty fish, maybe a fortified fish oil supplement. Egg yolks can be a big one if you're a fan of eggs. Again, a superfood, right? All of these I would kind of say are superfoods, like salmon, an omega-3 powerhouse. Salmon is amazing. Get great protein, great fats, a lot of vitamins, nutrients, anti-inflammatories in that as well. Egg yolks, another thing. And again, you have to have the egg yolk. A lot of people are kind of scared of egg yolks, I find. What do you guys think? Have you been hearing the same things that I've heard over the last probably 20 years of food research, coming up on 20 years since 2004? Just individuals scared of having egg yolks. Why? Because of the cholesterol levels. But we know through studies, right, that egg yolks, all right, and cholesterol, so the cholesterol that we consume, and we need some cholesterol in our diet. It's very important that we are getting some cholesterol, all right? The cholesterol that we consume has a very, very small effect on our serum cholesterol levels, which What you're going to want to be careful of is living a sedentary lifestyle or eating, processed foods, sugary foods, a lot of canned foods, things like that. Those are the ones that you're going to want to stay away from, and not being active. But have the egg yolks, guys. All right, high cholesterol from egg yolks. Exactly, Justice. A lot of people hear the exact same things that I do. All right, but if you're having one egg yolk a day, if you're eating one egg a day, I don't think you have to worry too much about cholesterol levels, unless your doctor tells you otherwise. All of the vitamins, all of the nutrients are found in the yolk. The egg white is only going to give you really protein. There's not a lot of vitamins in there. There's definitely no vitamin D in there. If you want vitamin D, you have to have the egg yolk. And I think that's the interesting thing. Those vitamins, those nutrients, the healthy fats that come from eggs, it's all found in the yolks, guys. So if you're having just the egg whites, you're not getting those benefits of the egg. I eat canned wild mackerel. There you go. 5 of 400-gram cans is only 7 USD. Yep, wild mackerel. High cholesterol from eggs. Yeah, so again, there you go, Justin. High cholesterol found in egg yolks. If you're eating one a day, again, unless your doctor is telling you otherwise, or you're dealing with heart issues and that cholesterol is just not right for you, then stay away from egg yolks. Go with the other foods. But again, in studies, the cholesterol that we're consuming, not a huge effect on our serum cholesterol levels. If you're high in cholesterol, add more vegetables, add more healthy fruits to your diet. Get out there and get 150 minutes of exercise or movement per week. That is going to have a much greater effect on your cholesterol levels, or lose weight, than eating 1 or 2 eggs a day, or let's say like 8 a week. Okay? That is going to have a much bigger effect on your high cholesterol. Now, I'm not saying any of that for you, Justice, in particular, but again, if you are dealing with high cholesterol, the best things you can do, add those healthy foods to your diet, get out there and get moving. It doesn't have to be high intensity. You can go out there for a walk 150 minutes per day, maybe swim, or not a day, sorry, a week. You can get out there and swim, go for a hike, enjoy nature. That is going to be your best bet when it comes to high cholesterol, guys. Get the foods that you're seeing right now on your screen are going to be the foods that are going to improve your cholesterol levels the most. All right, so don't be too scared of egg yolks. I have a lot of clients that are scared of eggs. So those are some common ones. The other one is going to be, again, your beef liver, of course, your fish liver, things like that. Again, I would stick to the salmon. I would stick to the mackerel, like you're doing. I would stick with sardines, maybe a fish oil supplement, or just supplementation in general. Now, there's also, and we're lucky these days because there are a lot of foods that are fortified in vitamin D, more so than ever. Again, I was at a food store that I hadn't been to in quite some time. Just looking, I was quite interested on this because I'd done quite a bit of reading on vitamin D over the last day or two. So it was nice to go there yesterday and see just how many options there are with vitamin D foods being fortified with it. All right, so if you don't like salmon, if you're not a fan of sardines like most people, one, you can supplement with it, or you can have those fortified foods, and we'll list them right now. Snowy, thank you so much. Denmark, great to have you from Denmark. A lot of European listeners, a lot of European, even like from Asia. We have someone from Philippines. It's great. I love hearing where you're listening from. A lot of American listeners, Canadian listeners, so I appreciate you all. Snowy, I hope you're having a great day. In Denmark, it's probably towards the end of your day right now, so I hope you had a great day. Thank you so much for posting in chat there. I really appreciate that. I love, again, listening, hearing where you're listening from. So thank you so much. And again, thank you for the likes, guys. We're already up to 15. So what are some fortified foods? All right, one is going to be milk. All right, now, a lot of times people, they're not consuming dairy. Well, that's okay because you can have almond milk. All right, almond milk fortified with vitamin D is one of the most popular fortified um, foods out there right now. Almond milk, huge. So if you aren't a dairy consumer, if you don't drink milk, or any other dairy products that are fortified with vitamin D, almond milk is going to be your go-to, guys. NYC Big Apple, that's right, Justice. Whereabouts in NYC? Are you right in the city? Because, like I said, the city is one of my favorite destinations. I love New York City. Oh, you're very welcome, Snowy. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. But again, those fortified foods, even you'll see things like orange juice. Orange juice is very very popular. But again, I'm a huge fan of juices and things like that. Again, not the biggest fan. Why? Because you're getting a lot of added sugar, you're getting a lot of preservatives. If you're having it in the morning, it's going to spike glucose and insulin levels, so it can throw hormones off just a little bit. Again, that's a whole other topic that I've done a few times and a few live streams on here. So a lot of people will start their day with orange juice, and yes, orange juice has a lot of health benefits, all right, and a lot of nutrition, vitamin C, all of that great stuff, anti-inflammatories. But if you're getting high sugar, all right, it outdoes those benefits in a lot of ways. Again, increasing glucose levels, increasing insulin, all of those things. But it's great that we can get those foods. All right. If you can get those fortified foods, if you're not having, those ones that are naturally high in vitamin D, say like your egg yolks or your fatty fish and things like that. And that's the thing. There's not a lot of foods, natural foods that have vitamin D, and that's why I think it's the most common. As you guys, if you didn't hear at the very beginning, the most common vitamin deficiency is now vitamin D. So if you're not eating, and a lot of people won't have salmon on a day-to-day basis, or mackerel, or sardines. I think eggs is probably one of the easiest to add to the diet, but we do have those fortified foods. Even breakfast cereals. Now, again, you have to find the one that's right for you. Not all of them are super healthy when it comes to breakfast cereals fortified with vitamin D, but there are some good, healthy cereals out there. A little bit higher in protein. I won't name any brands or anything like that. But you will see fortified breakfast cereals. And you can just look at the labels. Look at the labels, guys. If you're seeing vitamin D in there, it'll usually say right on the front of the food that you're having, fortified in vitamin D. It's very, very easy to find those foods that are fortified with vitamin D. Queens, okay. Queens, very nice. I think I've been to Queens only maybe just for like drive through of Queens. Queens is one of the boroughs that I haven't been to all that often. I grew up with a garden. Now there's a big possum, raccoons, rat problems. NYC for yeah, I've heard about that, rat problems in NYC. Absolutely. The last time I was there, I heard a lot about it. So I definitely know what you're talking about, Justice. But yes, those fortified foods, those fortified foods. Now again, if you aren't a fan of those foods, if you aren't a fan of those fortified foods, I think almond milk is probably one of your best bets. Soy milk is one out there that's going to be very, very commonly fortified in vitamin D. If you're not a fan of that, your best bet is to get sunlight. If you can't get sunlight, then the next best thing is going to be supplementation. All right. And there's tons of vitamin D supplements out there. And most people do take a vitamin D supplement to get their adequate levels of vitamin D on a day-to-day basis. You have your vitamin D2, you have your vitamin D3. All right. Vitamin D3, I think, very, very important. And you're going to see that much more in supplement form. Vitamin D2 a lot less common, and I think a little bit more expensive. But vitamin D3 supplements, very very popular. So many good ones out there. I wouldn't even know where to start. Most vitamin D3 supplements are very easy to find and are quite good. So most people will supplement with that. I think vitamin D over the last couple of years. I think vitamin D, and especially vitamin D3 fortified, or in combination with K2, has been the highest selling or the most popular supplement out there right now. So vitamin D supplementation, very, very popular. Nothing wrong with taking a vitamin D supplement if you need it. Again, speak with your medical practitioner. But we see even from a lot of studies, even that study that I was talking about um, from Harvard. Should you be worried about vitamin D supplementation? You know, a lot of them really are very, very safe. Not going to see a lot of adverse effects at recommended doses, guys. So, like I said, what's the recommended dose? That's going to be a discussion with you and your doctor, depending on your health history. But according to our studies, 1,000 to 5,000, maybe 1,000 to 4,000 IU's a day. Again, that's not my recommendation for you. But from what I've read and everything that I've seen, those seem to be the dosages that are going to give you that immune system boost, increase teeth health, increase bone health, decrease fatigue, decrease muscle soreness, help with joints. That seems to be around the dosage that most people and most studies are kind of finding is helpful for most people. Again, it's even higher than that, but I don't really want to mention that too much because they can go quite high, 10,000 IU's a day. That's quite high for most people. In full disclosure, I've never taken 10,000 IU's a day. I stick to somewhere in between 1,000 to 4,000, and that seems to do me just fine. I also eat a lot of eggs, so the supplements are there. Like I said, it's becoming winter season, fall season. You can bet that I'm going to be supplementing with vitamin D during those months. And again, for all the reasons why we just discussed in the live stream. So again, if you guys have any questions when it comes to vitamin D, any other questions or heart health questions, or questions in particular with fitness, with health, go ahead and ask those questions. I think I'm going to just take one 10,000 IU vitamin from now on. Better to follow an experienced person. Well, that's good, Alvin. I know you mentioned, I think you mentioned 20,000 IU's a day. If you want to drop to 10,000, that's certainly your choice. I would speak with your medical practitioner about it, and just see what the right dosage is for you, because everyone's dosage is different depending on again, personal health history. If you're dealing with any other problems, acute, chronic diseases and things like that, mood disorders, those types of things. Again, I would never suggest to you take this amount, take that amount. Again, I'm just telling you what I've seen in the studies. But it's pretty interesting to me, and again, that's why I wanted to do this live stream. And I don't know if you guys find it as surprising as I did, that vitamin D, even with all the studies and even with everything that's come out, and it's even mainstream right now, all of the health benefits of vitamin D, I'm still very surprised that it's at the top of the list for vitamin deficiencies, right up there with B12. Again, that's a very common one. That I have a video on vitamin B12 deficiency, iron deficiency, one of my more popular videos. It's right up there with all those. Even B6, so like B12, B6, magnesium, calcium, those are all the common ones, guys. Those are ones that I've made videos on. Calcium, again, I think another really, really important, popular video. But the vitamin D, all right, is still at the top of the list. So that's, again, why I wanted to get on this live stream, and talk about why you need this vitamin in your diet. One, it's the most common deficiency. Two, it's going to give you a bunch of signs and symptoms, all right, symptoms that, are going to hurt your quality of life, all right, and can hurt your overall health in a number of different ways, all right. So I think it's very, very important that you're speaking with your doctor, that you're being cognizant of getting vitamin D, vitamin D3 into your diet. I mean, who wouldn't want to boost immune system health? Who wouldn't want to improve bone health, digestive health, immune system health. I think maybe one of the biggest ones right now is we're getting into cold and flu, and as we have, everything that's gone on the past 4 years, we want things that are improving our immune system health. All right. Again, I'm always hesitant to bring up cancer and things like that, but there have been some studies where it can decrease the risk of certain types of cancer. Um, so that's another thing to think about as well. Taking a test actually does sound necessary. You know what? I never think it's a bad thing to get tested and to see what your levels are. Get some blood work done. It's very, very easy. Um, you know, get your blood work done regularly. Talk to your doctor about it, right? And try to eat as healthy as possible. A number of different foods. Try to get variety in your diet. Try to get some sunlight if you can. That's always a great thing. And at the very least, if you need to, you can always go to the vitamin D3 supplements and use that supplementation. That's what they're there for. Right? If you're not able to get it into your diet, and I think that's why it's the most popular supplement right now. And maybe in a year or two, maybe 3 years, you won't see vitamin D at the top of the list anymore, just because the supplementation is becoming more and more popular. The information of why getting vitamin D is so important in our diets is starting to get out there. It's mainstream. It's getting out there from streams like this. And that's why I appreciate the thumbs up, guys. Getting this information and people learning about the health benefits of vitamin D and why it can be low and why we can have vitamin D deficiencies in our diet. Yeah, a lot of people do, Alvin. Intuitively, yeah, and even what you hear in mainstream. Um, fat used to be one of those things. Eat low fat diet. You just don't see that really much anymore. It's really changed to carbohydrates. But, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer, it was a low fat diet. All right. And now we see, all right, what that is doing, why we need fats in our diet, and how important fats are. They're a necessary macronutrient, just like protein. Depending on what diet you're on, carbohydrates as well. I'm always a big fan of a well-balanced diet of protein, healthy fats, and healthy carbohydrates, and not overdoing it on processed foods, of course, like sugar. Sugar is one of those ones. Maybe the next stream will be the food that you need to get out of your diet, which would be sugar, salt, things of that nature. Just horrible for our bodies, as you guys probably know. But one of the things that's in our diets, probably most commonly, a lot of foods. I mean, put ketchup on something, you're going to be getting a ton of sugar just from that. It's good to like and share. Well, thanks, Justice. I appreciate that. It is good to like and share and get the information out. So I hope that helps clarify some things, guys. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. I hope, we start thinking about vitamin D deficiency, maybe speaking with your medical practitioner about it, maybe getting some more natural sunlight. If not, maybe thinking about supplementation if it's right for you. Again, one of the more popular supplements and one of the more cost-effective supplements out there. Again, you can get some fairly cheap vitamin D supplements, which is a great thing. Variety of whole food is the key to health. You got it. And that's why I always say that, Snowy. Get a variety of foods. Try some different things. You might think you might not like it, but you end up loving it. Smoothies can help. Get a bunch of different macronutrients and a bunch of micronutrients into your diet as well. So I hope that helped, guys. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Leave a comment down below if you want more live streams. Leave a comment in chat here if you want more live streams, more discussion. Let me know if you found this discussion on vitamin D helpful. Like I said, I was a little bit short getting the notification out. I apologize for that. That certainly won't be happening as we move forward. I know it happened last time. It happened today. But I'm going to make sure that I get those notifications out because it's very, very tough, especially on on a Monday afternoon for people to get in here if they don't see that notification. Oh, a prayer garden in your backyard. Avoid Neighbors prayer garden's always nice. Flaxseed and chia seeds, very nice. Chia seeds is one of my go-tos. I'm a very big fan of hemp seeds, of hemp hearts. Very very big fan. Usually add those to my smoothies, or you can add it to oatmeal, just to get those healthy fats in there. Thanks for the live. My pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Like I said, especially on short notice. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having the discussion with me. It's always great when you guys have that back and forth. It's great to talk to you live. Like I said, there's almost 5,000 videos on this channel, but you don't get that live back and forth with just the videos going up. So I do like getting on here and talking live with you guys. So just as much as you appreciate the live streams, I appreciate you guys coming in and having the discussion with me. And I hope the discussion on vitamin D was effective and of value to you guys. So thank you, Justice. Thank you, Alvin. Big shout out to you guys. Thank you, Snowy. I don't want to miss anyone. Thank you, Happy and Simple Living. Appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you, everyone who's coming in now, even still. Long live Canada, Justice. Thank you so much up here in Canada. I appreciate you guys so much. So, expect Justice in the Big Apple. That's right, neighbors. And again, big fan of that city there. So thank you so much, guys. If you're just coming into the chat, if you can leave a thumbs up, greatly appreciate it. Again, that YouTube algorithm is a tough one, but we're trying to get back into it, and with your guys' help, we definitely will. So thank you, Snowy. I'll see you guys next time. There'll definitely be a notification going up so that we have some time to give a little bit of heads up to all the subscribers. But thank you so much. I enjoyed you guys. I enjoyed the discussion. If we can get to 20 thumbs up, it's always a great thing. I think that's always the goal on the live streams. 66 minutes we just went. Wow, unbelievable. Time flies when you're having fun, talking about health, talking about wellness. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. Look out for more live streams. Look out for more videos, just like the one that I put up a couple days ago, I believe. Give that a watch. I think it was a very interesting video. But thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will be talking with you guys very, very shortly. So have a great